Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabanz. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let me get into this. Let me get into this topic here. Let me get into it immediately. As you guys know, Shannon Sharpe and Katt Williams just broke the internet. They literally just broke the internet. For those of you who have been following this channel for quite some time, you will know that I've always felt like Shannon Sharpe could be the best in the business. I said the only thing I disagree with him on is his LeBron takes, and I have the right to feel that way. But apart from that, I've always said he's going to be, and I've been saying it for probably a year now. I said that I believe personally that Shannon Sharpe is going to make more money in the next 10 years, 5 to 10 years, than he ever made playing as an NFL football player, Hall of Fame football tight end. That's what I believe, right? If you look at what Shannon Sharpe is doing right now, he's the hottest thing in sports, if we're being honest. And it's showing you that him being on Undisputed, he was the one basically keeping that show afloat. Because for this guy to be having this level of success independently, it shows you that there's real value in, number one, cultivating your own audience, and number two, betting on yourself. And that's what Shannon Sharpe did. So that's the reason let me just give you guys that's the reason why I was getting so upset. When Shannon Sharpe, we found out that he was going to be coming to ESPN, and he invited, I believe, Stephen A. Smith on his show. And he was sitting up here, Stephen A. Smith, I got to thank you, man. I got to thank you. And I got to thank I'm like, what? It's like, you don't know who you is? You don't know who you are? Have you seen the viewership numbers when Shannon is on ESPN and when he's not? It's a spike when he's on there and a total dip. And it's one of the reasons now you're beginning to see him come on the show more regularly. Like, who are we kidding here? The obvious thing was for ESPN to go after Shannon. You would gotta be a blithering idiot if you didn't. It's one of the reasons Colin Cowherd, he's now partnered with the Volume Podcast Network or whatever it is. Like, who didn't know this? So I was getting so upset. I'm like, Shannon, what are you talking about? Y'all gotta thank you. Man, stop all of that. You don't know who you is? I didn't understand. I just didn't understand. Maybe he's a very humble person. I don't know. I didn't get it because to me, it was quite obvious that Shannon Sharpe was a major. He just has it. Whatever it is, he has it. And I've been saying it. It's not like, I have been saying we got videos to prove it. Now, what happens? Shannon Sharpe goes out there and drops an interview at the beginning of the year Kobe Bryant, 8/24, shout out to my dude. He drops an interview featuring Katt Williams. If you guys know anything about Katt Williams, he's very opinionated. He's not going to bite his tongue for nobody. The interview drops the first day. I looked at the views. It said something like 5 million. Then I looked, it said 7 million. Then I looked, it said 13 million. And I'm like, what is going on here? Ladies and gentlemen, as we currently speak, that Katt Williams interview has 33 million views in less than a week, about 5-6 days. 33 million views. Last time I listened to him on Nightcap, he said their interview is getting about 5 to 7 million views per day. Are you also aware of the fact that Shannon Sharpe's club Shay Shay is the number 3 podcast in the United States for all categories on Apple, iTunes or whatever it is? Are you aware of this? He totally broke the internet. Here's some more data. The most viewed interview in the history of YouTube is a Joe Rogan interview. I think it's sitting at 57 million views. He produced that. The interview, I think, took place about 2-3 years ago. Shannon Sharpe, by the end of this year, this interview is going to be about 45 million. Because people are going to keep watching it. And with these amount of views, it brings a tremendous amount of opinions. And that's what happened. Various people started weighing in. But yesterday, I came across a clip from, I believe, the channel The Association. And he posted a clip about some comments that Steven Jackson had to make about Shannon Sharpe's interview, specifically pertaining to him essentially allowing Kevin Hart to go on a tirade and not check him. So for those of you who didn't hear what Steven Jackson had to say, I want to quickly play it for you. It's about a minute or so clip, 50-second clip. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Steven Jackson had to say here.
I already spoke on Katt. Katt a real one. He spoke his mind. Everybody should speak their mind. That's just what it is. I wouldn't let him go hard as he did on a lot of people on our show. I just wouldn't, because we got relationships with him. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. You don't have a show, so you wouldn't know what you would do. We've done hundreds of shows, so we know how to handle that type of shit. The whole world talking about the Katt interview. The whole world. Everybody giving their opinions. But I can't speak on it because I'm so live. It ain't got nothing to do with you. Well, go on everybody else page and tell them that too then.
So you heard what Steven Jackson had to say. First of all, let me say this. I think a lot of people immediately are going to say, this is jealousy, he is hating. We know this already. This is going to be the knee-jerk reaction, and I understand, and I can understand why. Because, like, bro, you're looking at what this guy just did, he's making history, and here you come saying this, right? So I can understand that. And I can understand why people are saying that. But here's the point I think Steven Jackson was trying to make. I think the point Steven Jackson was trying to make was this. Push back on your guest. There are other interviews, and I'm not criticizing Shannon Sharpe, I'm just trying to illustrate, I think, the point that Steven Jackson was trying to make. There have been other people that have interviewed strong, opinionated people where the interviewers have pushed back. And in the case of Shannon Sharpe, Kevin Hart, I mean, at one point he was like on a 30-minute. He was spazzing out for like one segment. He was spazzing out for like 30 minutes straight. And Shannon wasn't pushing back on him. I think his producer at one point had to correct something about, or try to get some clarification on the thing about the Kings of Comedy with the dates, because I think he said 2018, but instead it was 1998. He tried to do that. But in Shannon's defense, I think this is what was happening. I think that Shannon Sharpe was witnessing a moment. And I think at a certain point, Shannon turned into the viewer. That interview and the space that Katt Williams was in was unlike anything we've ever seen. Hence, one of the reasons it's one of the most viewed interviews on YouTube ever. So it was a moment, number one. Number two, there have been times in the past where I've heard Shannon Sharpe push back on some of his guests when they would say certain things. Number three, and to Shannon's point, some of those things he couldn't refute because, as he said, he was taking it at face value. How does he know? And sometimes that happens because you're believing what the person said. Now, according to a lot of the shows that I've seen people produce around this Katt Williams thing, a lot of people have been fact checking it, and a lot of people have been saying actually Katt Williams has been telling the truth about a lot of the things, about Steve Harvey stealing jokes, about this person stealing jokes, about that. So he was telling the truth. But I also understand where Steven Jackson is coming from, like push back on him. Another thing he said, you should have done a better job trying to defend these other people. Other people may say, why is it his job to defend them? His job is to get the guest to talk. And that's what they did. And it's going to be pretty hard to criticize someone that just had the third most or second most viewed interview in the history of YouTube. YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world behind Google search. It's going to be kind of hard to tell a guy how to do things. It's going to be kind of hard. So I understand where Steven Jackson is coming from. But at the same time, man, you're doing that in real time. It's kind of hard. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.